Hello, friends, and welcome to my very first podcast. This is Better with me, Charlotte Wager-Hall. You can also find me on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube as Skinny Schedule. On today's show, we have Harry Purewal. Harry is an image and personal brand consultant. She does colour and style analysis. Her focus is about empowering people to look their best effortlessly, but also be the best version of themselves. In our conversation, we found out how wearing the right colours can help get you promoted, feel more confident, look younger, slimmer, and even help you maybe find the love of your life. It is fascinating. I took away the majority of us should not be wearing black and why it's time to get rid of the staple little black dress out of our wardrobes. So I'm so excited to share this with you. Let's get started and welcome Harry onto the show. Harry, welcome to the show. It's absolutely a pleasure to have you in today. So for the listeners that are out there that have never heard of colour analysis, what is it?
So colour analysis is actually determining the undertones of your skin to then advise you on the best colours to wear.
Wow. So how do you apply that to everyday life?
We get dressed every single morning. It's the one sure thing we're going to do. And we choose colour when it comes to our hair, our makeup, jewellery, accessories, you name it. We are influenced by colour. We're surrounded by it all the time. And what we don't realise is that some colours are going to make us look our best, and then other colours are going to have a really negative effect.
Because there's a science behind it, right? It's not just sort of a basic theory. Like, there really is a true science behind it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think I originally had thought that, it was going to be somebody that, said, oh, this colour looks nice on you, or that colour doesn't. But actually, the fact that it is based in science, the science of colour, made it a lot more credible for me. So in terms of how that works, when we were back in infant school, we were taught that every colour in the world was made up of red, yellow and blue, so primary colours. And it was so important that we were taught this, at a really young age. And it seems that we kind of grew up and forgot about it. And the undertones of your skin are also a colour. And you're either going to have more blue in those undertones or more yellow. The red doesn't really matter so much because the red has a universal flow all the way through the colour wheel. And actually true red is the only colour that suits everybody.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
True red, yeah.
Given that most of us probably don't actually own that much red.
Yeah, red's it's quite a powerful colour. It certainly gets you noticed. And I think there's connotations, there's lots of psychology behind, red and what it means. It can signify passion, but it can also signify danger. But actually in terms of branding, and if you look at Richard Branson or Clinique, they use that true red, and that means that everybody who works for that brand is going to look okay in it.
It stands out, doesn't it? Yeah, I like that. But this isn't your you didn't actually start in this world. You actually had a really successful corporate career in HR. So what was the turning point? How did you end up going down this route?
I had a great career in HR, 20 years on. I still do some level of consultancy work. However, I'd got stuck in my career and I had done every bit of internal development you can imagine. So, mentoring, courses, training, you name it. I was really up on my continuous professional development. But I'd got stuck and I was sat in a performance review meeting and, I'd done really, really well. I'd hit every objective, smashed every target. And as we put our pens down to finish, I just thought I'd ask my line manager, and I just turned to her and said, so if that's all good, why am I never getting promoted? Why am I never put forward for opportunities? And I don't know if it was a Friday afternoon or the fact that she was Geordie, and straight talker. And she just put her pen down and said, actually, I don't always remember you. I don't always, you don't always stand out for me. And sometimes I get a glimpse of something about you that I don't quite get, is that the real you? And you've got to know, Charlotte, that for work I was suited, I was booted, I was always in a dark, grey, navy, black suit.
So quite the classic corporate, sort of very straight edge style.
Yeah, it's sort of shirts, pinstripe shirts sometimes.
Would you wear colour, or was it very much the black, white, charcoal grey that seems to be standard office attire?
I wore brown, I wore cream, I wore colours that I suppose did not make me stand out.
Neutral, safe.
Yeah, neutral, safe. We all do it. We go and opt for those colours time and time again. And the strangest thing is, actually, we go to work and we want to be noticed. We want to be, going forward in our careers, and yet we dress to disappear.
And did you realise that back then?
I probably didn't. I thought, well, you start work, don't you, as a graduate, you come out of all your, cosy hoodies and what have you, and you start work and you look around and you think, well, what's the uniform around here? And we seem to slip into that very, very easily and suddenly just start to disappear. And as we age, the colours strip from our skin and hair, and, you'll find that becomes even more important.
So how did you, after getting that feedback, which is pretty cutthroat really, actually, when you've spent a lot of your life and your passions working towards that, where did you take it from there?
Well, I swore all the way down the A1 as I went home, and phoned a really good friend and had a good moan to her, and eventually kind of went, she'd had enough, said, Harry, what's going on here? What's the fix for this? There must be something that you can do that, addresses this, just as I would have done with any other feedback. And I said, well, actually, I've heard about this thing where you can go get your colours done, but I think it's a load of old nonsense. I think it's, well, how can I be paying this woman money to tell me what colours to wear? And she actually convinced me to go get it done. She said, come on, we'll both go together.
That's so interesting. So it's interesting your thought process sort of back then that made you consider that.
Yeah.
That avenue. So you went along and assumed did a colour analysis session.
I did, because I'd invested so heavily on every other bit of development. I was really at a loss as to what else I could be doing to kind of get ahead.
And what was that experience like? What was it involved? Because there'll be a lot of people, I mean, I'd never heard of it until a couple of years ago. And I'd actually discovered it because of a colleague looked amazing, and I just couldn't quite put my finger on it, what would change. And she said it was a colour analysis, and then I went on one for my 30th birthday, and it is amazing. But for those that haven't had that experience yet, what does it entail? How does it help you?
Yeah. So when you come for a colour analysis, the first thing I'm determining is whether you've got more yellow in the undertones of your skin or more blue. And once we've got there, what I then do is determine whether you need sharpness and clarity of colour, or do you need colours that are a little bit more soft and muted. So
what did you learn about yourself there on this your first trip?
I had loved warm autumnal colours. I had a lot of clothes in that colour range, and actually the undertones of my skin are blue.
So is that a no-no?
So the warm colours were definitely not right for me. So the first thing I learned, though, was I had a cool undertone to my skin, and that I needed real clarity of colour. There was no way that I probably would have worn a bright pink dress as I'm doing today. It just wouldn't. I've gone straight past it, in a rack in a shop. But once those colours were put next to my skin tone, it just lit me up. So there's a lot of advantages, in terms of wearing the right colours. Once you've got a palette that is harmonising with your skin tone, your face becomes in focus. So people notice you. You get a real clarity in your eyes. So your eye colour comes out. And that's really how we connect with people, is having that eye contact. Your skin tone is evened out. You look a lot more radiant, and it's also slimming. So,
which I think we'd like a little bit of that of what you're saying. I think that's a very popular one. So you had your colours done, and then what did you do from that evening of having your colours done?
So I went home and had a look in my wardrobe, realised that I'd got it right on some occasions, and the others were completely wrong.
So did you just get rid of the clothes? Did you start again from scratch?
I couldn't afford to. I couldn't afford to get rid of everything, but I sorted it out. And actually, I found that you can't unsee what you've just seen. And when you know what those colours have done to you, because you see that, and the wrong colours will make you look blotchy. It can cause the unevenness in your skin tone to really come out. Any redness, any pigmentation really stands out. Your eyes are duller, and it adds weight to your face. So when I was looking at the creams, I had loads of cream shirts, blouses and tops and things like that. When I put those on, I was putting weight on my face. I was losing the definition of my jawline. And, that is not good.
That is not good on any account. Yeah. So you got your colours done, you then started revamping your wardrobe. Yeah. How did things change for you at work then?
Yeah, so I slowly added some key colours in, took the other ones to one side. And I remember walking into a meeting, so I had, it was cobalt blue blouse on. So instead of cream shirt, I put a a really powerful colour for me. And I remember walking into a meeting and people just interacted with me differently. I was visible is the only way I can say.
Okay.
People greeted me differently, and I remember sitting around a large table, senior manager leading the meeting, just glancing around the room, to invite somebody's opinion. And when you see somebody who's had their colours done, as you said, you saw somebody and thought, oh, they look amazing. When you see somebody who's had their colours done, you can't miss them.
No, yeah, it just draws a sort of different aura almost about it. It's really hard to explain if you've not seen it.
Yeah, they stand out for the right reasons. It's not, case of wearing banana yellow and hoping you're going to get noticed. It really is that your face becomes in focus. And that was it really. From then on, I was getting noticed. I was being put forward for things. And if I can put that into an 8-month journey, within those 8 months, I had got a project, really large project to lead. I'd got a secondment, I got a promotion, and I had a 25% pay increase.
Wow.
And I will honestly put that down to having had my colours done. And you'll find those stories are replicated. So people go on, to meet the love of their life. They take brave steps, they move in their careers. There's lots of different things that start to happen for people, because once you've unlocked, the colours, you can stop thinking about what you're going to wear and how you're going to dress, because you'll have it right. And I think that's when the real value that you have to give starts to come out. And it's that confidence just sort of, spirals. And
so did you feel more confident wearing your right colours, your right tones?
Yeah, it took a little while, because they weren't colours I would have considered before.
Right.
I would have walked past them, I would have dismissed them. Cobalt blue, that kind of reminded me of school uniform, when I was young, and they weren't colours that I would have used. So I think once I got those colours on, and I had to start, didn't have loads of money at the time, I would just invest a small amount of money, make sure that the top colour was right. So it's the colours that are closest to your face that are really important. Start with those and build it up. And as a consultant now, I can't say to my clients, right, get rid of all your clothes. That's ludicrous. We can't afford to do that. We don't have the inclination to do that. But I will support them on that journey to build up the right colours. And we would always start accessories, makeup, colours that are close to your face, tops, things like that are going to make the biggest difference.
So what are the key benefits of wearing your right colours? Because you said weight loss there. I zoned in on that. A lot of my blogs are sort of about weight loss and maintaining weight. So one of the key things about wearing the right colours is you can look slimmer. We like the sound of that. So let's put some other ways. Like, what other ways happen when you wear the right colours?
So the other benefits would be, one, you save time. So the way I shop is I will stand in a shop doorway, I will glance around the shop, I will find, hone in on the colours that are mine. I can then look at it. Is it the right style for me? Yes, it is. Great. I'll go then try it on. I also know that I'm not going to waste my time buying things that are not right for me. I can look at something on you, for instance, or a friend, and think, yeah, that's great. I just know it's not mine.
Yeah.
In the past, I'd see a friend wearing something and I would then go buy it and I'd look at myself in it. It wouldn't suit me. And I'd think, oh, what's wrong with me? And it's a real psychological thing where we think there's something wrong with us.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
Rather than thinking, well, actually, that colour, that style isn't for me. So I think that's a big difference, really, is the sort of the time and confidence denting that I no longer do.
So you said your confidence improved doing that as well?
Completely.
So weight loss, it saves you time, it saves you money, because you're actually just buying what suits your confidence. Is there anything else?
Yeah, I think, in terms of saving money, once you know what your palette is and all your clothes are within that palette, everything just goes together. So if you're keen on creating a capsule wardrobe, I think especially for work, you can interchange pieces. They are just going to go together. And if you're going right the way across the colour wheel, this isn't going to go with that, whereas mine will. I have some standard jackets, possibly in my neutrals that I can mix and match. I can wear with lots of my brighter colours. So saving on time, saving on money, and just looking fabulous all the time, effortlessly. You don't have to think about it.
And you know what, I will really agree with all that. And had I not had my colours done before, I think I would have found it sort of hard to believe some of this, but having had it done, I totally agree. It just makes shopping a lot easier, because I'll go in now, and when the seasons change, certain colours come in, I know I just can't wear those colours, so I just avoid that bit of the store. It really does make a difference. But also, when we were having a conversation the other day, wearing the right colour, it's those days where people go, you look really well today, and they can't. you don't feel any different. It's normally because you're wearing your right colour. But equally, you can play on it. If you want to feel like you don't look as well, I could just wear a bit of mustard. Or that was quite a funny story you were telling me about the other day, how people sometimes can play on wearing the wrong colour. Some celebrities do it, don't they?
Yeah, so it was a story. So, I'm not saying that I know this for sure, but if you look at Princess Diana back in the day, if she needed to get public sympathy, she would be in colours that actually drained her, made her look, smaller and I suppose not, looking fabulous. So it elicit a bit of sympathy. I do it. I wear, yellow or orange when I want to get out of doing the ironing,
Oh, damn it.
Very well
my
today.
husband's listening to this.
So people can, and it's about what impact you want to have. But I find most people want to disappear. They don't necessarily want to stand out.
Yeah.
And it's a common thing that I get. I really don't want to get noticed that much. However, what you don't want to do is go into the negative side where you're not looking great, where it's making you look ill. The wrong colours will make you look ill. So, it's one of those where you just...
So you can use it to your advantage in life. If you want to look brilliant and get that job promotion, wearing the right colour will help. If you want to get out of doing the ironing and the washing up, wearing the wrong colour really helps you, of course. I love that. So what are the classifications of colour? Because I've had my colours done now, so I'm a cool summer. But for those that are listening that might not have sort of any ideas of that, what is sort of the spectrum? What are the categories? Yeah,
you'll get lots of different terminology. But the first thing is, do you have more yellow, warmth in the undertones of your skin, or do you have more blue or coolness to the undertones of your skin? It doesn't matter what your skin tone is, because we tan, we go lighter in the winter, so that doesn't really matter. But what does matter is the undertones. So firstly, are you more kind of yellow or warm? Secondly, are you more cool and blue? The second thing, the classification I will do, is whether you will suit the real clarity of colour. Do you need like sort of bright colours, or do you need colours that are slightly more muted? So I don't know if you've ever seen somebody, they're wearing something and you look and you think, oh, and that's the first thing you notice about them. So it's wearing them.
Yeah, agreed. I can see it now. I think I used to struggle until I had my colours done. But yeah, I can see what you mean. I like black. Like you say, it's quite a harsh one. I think you described it as almost like a floating head when a lot of people wear black. So
it can almost cut your head off. So we wear black and it looks like our head's just floating on the top. It's so disassociated. Whereas when you've got colours that harmonise with skin tone, it just all flows. There's nothing that's distracting us from looking at you, focusing on your eyes and whatever value you've got to give. So you'll find that people... they just look in focus. You honestly, when you see someone who's had their colours done, you'll go up to them and you go, oh, you look well. And I'm thinking, has she had work done? Botox? What is it? She looks amazing. Or he, indeed. So I have male clients as well. And that's
so it can make you look younger then as well, would you say? Is that a fair sort of description? Or really older if you wanted to, playing on the colours again?
It can absolutely make you look younger. You will visibly see it. I put the wrong tones on you, put the right tones on you once we've done the analysis. And I show you look a bit aged, you look a bit down.
What we should have really done? We should have brought some clothes and taken some pictures. Pictures of us. Maybe for next time. We'll do that next time. We'll do because we're quite opposite, aren't we, in the classification? Is that right?
Yeah. So we both sit in the cool tones of the wheel. So we are both blue toned. However, you need clothes and colours that are a little bit more muted, whereas I need some real clarity. So I probably would have opted for more muted colours in the past and not have been as visible and in focus as I am now with real clarity.
So when you say pink. Clarity, would you say like a bolder? Is that a sort of a description for those of us that aren't as as experienced?
They're probably brighter and clearer.
Brighter and clearer, and I think I'm more sort of smoky. Is that a sort of a good description for it?
Smoky for summer, or cool, soft, they call it sometimes in the industry. Those colours are a lot more muted, and smoky, softer. There's lots of different words that you'll have. But so if you imagine winter colours or, cool bright colours, and then imagine looking through a little sort of veil or net curtain. You would then get the summer colours. It's a little bit more set back.
See, I just wish there was a shop of this, or we could have like an army of you in the shops, because once you've got this information, it does transform how you shop. It does get easier in senses because you can eliminate whole sections, but then it's then picking out the right shade for you. But let's lead that into the autumn winter trends for this year, because there's quite a few key trends going on. And now I have the knowledge, I now have a great excuse to go shopping. So the first one, animal print is everywhere, whether that's a bit of mock croc, snake. The real big one is leopard print. Now, I love a bit of leopard print, not to Pat Butcher extent, but I like a little touch. But I'm aware since having my colours done that I can't wear those sort of warm beiges, the tans. So how can you wear leopard print for your colouring?
Thankfully, there's a lot of different shades out there. So if you are in the warm kind of end of the spectrum, fill your boots, it's everywhere. You know, we've got gorgeous browns and tans out there. If you're in the cooler tones, burgundy, there's blues out there, there's, you know, the white, black, zebra print's quite big as well.
Yeah, it's really big.
It's really big, yeah. So it's finding a colour within your spectrum. So once you've had your colours analysed and you kind of know where you sit, you'll discard all of that. I never ask anybody to give up something completely. If it brings you joy and you love it, then, you know, I kind of go, you have permission to go have a bit of fun with it. I think, you know, clothes and expression of yourself should be, should all...
They go hand in hand, don't they? So if I want leopard, I should go more sort of like away from the face if I want to wear it. So maybe like a handbag or some slippers, shoes, something like that.
Yeah, definitely away from your face, but there's loads of accessories out there. You could have a little cheeky belt, you know, with some leopard print on. I've got some zebra print, you know, shoes that I could wear. If they're in your tones, they're going to go with everything.
Yep.
If they're not in your tones, then you know you just got breaking the rules a little bit and you're having a bit of fun with it, but keep it away from your face because of
keep it in the house. So I basically need to go and get, if I want leopard print, I either go different colour or I have to have them in the house and wear them as pyjamas. Is the best way to get out of it. And I meant to ask earlier actually, how can you, for those listening, how can you actually tell sort of, is there characteristics with certain colours, like blondes tend to be more this or brunettes tend to be more this? Is there sort of a way that you can work out roughly where you sit in that sort of spectrum?
It is really difficult. So if you think of me as a winter, so I've got, you know, olivey, dark, you know, brown skin. I've got black hair. I've had winters who have blue eyes, blonde hair, and, you know, very, very fair skin. So it is very tricky just to look at somebody. I see all these things of, oh, look at your veins, you know, are they more green or they're more blue? Hold a piece of paper to your face. It is really tricky to do it for yourself. Some of the pointers that I would give is that if you put something on and it totally washes you out, you will know it's not because you haven't got your makeup on, it's because that colour is working against you.
That's a good pickup actually, because how many times have we gone shopping, you know, not maybe put a full face on, and you always say in the change rooms, don't you, it's because I've not got my heels on and my makeup. It'll look better when my hair, makeup and shoes are on, but actually it might be that it's the wrong colour completely. I've never even made that connection.
Yeah, totally the wrong colour. We've got to stop thinking that we are wrong. It's just that what we're choosing, what we're choosing to put on ourselves is what's not.
But it's very personal. There's no, if you're blonde or brunette, you tend to fit in this category, except redheads, is that?
So I would say with redheads, they tend to sit in the warm category. So, you know, they're really going to be able to rock the leopard print and the gorgeous animal prints that we've got out there. They tend to be warm. Right, but again, never say never. You know, sometimes we've got
it's so personal, isn't it?
Yeah,
so personal.
It's not your hair colour that drives it or your eye colour that drives it. It is the undertones of your skin. That does not change. We are born with those undertones. We die with those undertones. So that won't change.
Got you. So it's just, find out what you are and learn how to dress for it. Which brings me on to brown is the new black this autumn winter. Again, brown one, I think it's a no-no for me. I'm not sure.
So really warm browns, if we think about chocolate browns, we think about tans, we think about chestnuts, all those gorgeous colours, not great on a cooler skin tone.
Okay, so if you're warm, go hard.
Avoid. I would avoid it. Your browns as a summer, so somebody who's cool and soft, would be more sort of pinky browns. It's like a rose brown.
I need to Google that. I've never heard of a rose brown, but I'm a bit interested. Maybe I can get a bit of leopard print in rose brown.
And then for winter, so if you need character colour, there's a colour called mole. And mole is almost, I would say, grey. So when you put it next to a brown, it looks grey. But when you look at it, it's kind of like, it's not quite grey, but there's a little bit of warmth to it. You know, it looks a bit brown, but it's more grey.
It's more grey. And black's actually making a bit of a comeback.
It is. For the first time in a while, black is going to feature... Yeah, it's going to feature majorly. I think the way that they've switched it up is they've put real bright colours. So, you know, if you see the floral trend as well, they're in sort of punchier colours, but with a darker background. So I think that's one trend to kind of look out for, that even if you can wear black, sometimes it's not the most flattering.
I was going to say, because it's quite rare. I think a lot of our wardrobe is black. Yeah, it's easy. We've all got the black skinny jeans. We've got that little black dress at the back of the wardrobe. But the majority of us, generally speaking, should we wear black?
It's our go-to, isn't it? Because it's safe. Right, so black... I have some theories about why we have this love affair with black. So first of all, we think it's slimming.
Yes, we like slimming.
We like it to be slimming. Unfortunately,
is it not?
Not really.
Really?
So black doesn't bounce light, it absorbs light. So it doesn't bounce light in the way that some other shades will. So we're not creating that illusion of contouring and breaking down. We've just got this expansive black. So just be really careful in that. Secondly, if it's not right for your skin tone, and if you can imagine only a quarter of us out there are going to actually suit black.
Wait, hang on. So a quarter of us out there suit black. So that means 75% of us don't really suit black. Probably 75% of our wardrobe is black.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's a usually the first thing that people ask me is, will I not be able to wear black? And I get clients that come and he'll say, right, I can just tell you now, I'm not going to give up my black. You know, whatever I turn out to be, I'm not going to give up my black. And then when you speak to them sort of a few months down the line, they go, actually, I've never gone back to black.
Why is it such a safety blanket then? Because it does seem to be a go-to, doesn't it?
Yeah, so I think continentally, in the continent, they wear a lot of black. French women do rock it. They seem to...
French women style is amazing.
Yeah, and we admire their style and we copy that. And thirdly, it's out there in the fashion industry. So if you think about colour trends, if you are in an industry where that is going to be key, that you are not seen in something that's last season, darling, then you are going to want to focus on not being in the wrong. So people stick with black in the
safe.
Yeah, in fashion, because it's never really going to be out. We kind of have that expression, don't we? Black is never out; it's always in.
Yeah.
But that's because they need to not be seen in the wrong colours. And there's only so many clothes we can all buy, whatever industry we're in. So I think that's one thing that we think it's sophisticated. We think it's it's fashionable, but there are so many other colours that actually flatter us far.
What is the most slimming colour then? If black is it just dependent on your shade and your colouring? Wow, right, okay, so there's not one colour that's just, I should wear this because it's going to make me most.
But your colour, so the spectrum that we've defined for you, they will all put your face back in focus. And I show my clients, I think, in the wrong colour, can you see this is added weight to your face? We lose definition in the jawline. Men as well, it's particularly telling, they lose the strength in the jawline. And you kind of almost, sort of blur into one. It makes us look bigger than we are. So it's really key that we get into the right spectrum. And
so the majority of us out there, get rid of that little black dress for Christmas. Which brings me...
makeup on. Make sure you've got some really vibrant makeup on.
So, which leads me then, with Christmas coming up around the corner, metallics is really big, gorgeous. 80s is really big, sort of jumbo sequins. Can everyone wear metallics? Is this a sort of universal across all the classifications?
Yeah, so if you think about metallics, they come in all sorts of different shades. So we're talking about, silver today. Silver's massive. Obviously, when we think metallics, we think, black, shiny, charcoal grey, silvers, all those sorts of things. I've seen some burgundy in the shops as well. They look fabulous on our cooler skin tones, but I have seen bronze out there. So bronze is gorgeous for autumn. So people who need like a richness and an earthiness to their colours, that is absolutely great. And I would say the spring, so the people who have got warm spring tones that need brighter colours, and probably get away with silver, but really, again, something warm and something really bright.
So like golds, bronzes.
Yeah, they'd be beautiful.
To avoid the silver, which leads me into patent is actually make a big comeback. So not just your shoes, but like the patent skirts and shiny. So because the fabric's sort of shiny, can everyone wear a shine? I know it's not quite a colour, but it sort of leads into that.
Yeah, again, so with patent, it's more about style. So some of our style profiling really lends itself to shiny, materials. For some people, it will look cheap on them.
Yeah, I sort of feel that when I put that on, I do feel like I'm channeling in my inner, for a better word, prostitute. It just, you think red painting, you do think Amsterdam, it's got this association. Going back to red, like you say, passion.
So the thing with colour and anything that we see. So I think we started off saying that actually animal print can be really polarising. You either love it or you hate it. You think it's better lint or you think it's it's amazing. However, those associations with colour I will get over because I look at you with a real fresh pair of eyes, and you have subconscious bias that will lend you to thinking, patent's kind of like prostitutes, or whatever. We have those connotations, but I think when it's really shiny, it tends to be really reflective and out there, so not probably great on the summers, but it's more your style that will dictate whether you look great in that level of shininess or not.
Right, okay. Because that feels like it's going into a whole another field here. I'm just about getting my head round colour. Yeah. So it feels like we could do a whole nother podcast just on style. But just giving us a bit of a teaser, I guess. What is there like a classification of style then? Is there like a little intro you could give us there?
There really
bit of a tidbit to help me out with my shopping this afternoon.
There really is. So when you look at style is based on the bones of your body, so how your body is structured. Some of us are more angular, some of us are curvier. And then the other thing is your personality. So when it comes to style, you can see something on your best friend and think, wow, she looks amazing. But if you're a different kind of personality and have a different persona, you can put that and not carry it off quite as well. So it's two things. So when I'm doing style profiling, I am looking at your personality through personality questionnaire, as well as what your body architecture is saying. Are you more angular or are you softer and rounded? So we all have a different kind of energy. And that energy can either be really, really direct, or it can be sort of softer. We know people who are really direct and to the point, and but we know people who are quite nurturing and softer as well. So it depends on what kind of energy you give out as to what the styles will suit you. And without going too far, because I think it's a whole different subject.
Yeah, a whole other ballpark.
When you've seen the prints out there at the moment, the checks and stripes are huge. Think about those in your colourways. Which colours kind of put you back in focus, but also, have you got the angles in your body to kind of carry that off, because they're very angular, very straight, or are you going to be better with the prints, that are more floral or diffused, because your body's curvier. So it's a whole different arena that you step into.
There's a bit of a minefield here. I feel like I need to go personal shopping with you. This is
some people are stylish and just effortlessly have it right. But I would say the vast majority of us just need that bit of help. And a lot of clients, we stand in the mirror and we're looking at different things and they kind of go, yeah, I knew that didn't work on me, but now I understand.
You understand why. Yeah, you feel like you just have an off day, you haven't got your makeup on, your hair, your heels, is what we tend to see in changing rooms.
We think, well, we're not quite as attractive as our friend or, celeb that we've seen. If I was just, if I just looked like that, perhaps I'd be better. But actually, it's not about that. I think that, your intro said I was all about empowering people to look their best. The level of confidence that gives you when you know what suits you, what makes you look amazing, is just immense. And it leads on to different things. Like I said, for me, it was getting my colours done, getting unlocked to my career, and then making a really brave decision to actually give up that safety net of a regular income and set up my own business. But some people go meet the love of their lives, lose loads of weight, because when we start to invest in ourselves and we change that relationship that we have with our image, that's when the great stuff starts to happen. We spiral upwards instead of just that negative self-talk that we all have going on in our
and I think that's what's so amazing about it. It's not negative. It's about being the best version of yourself. It's not trying to say that you can't do this or that. It's about embracing what you have had and got. And yeah, just being the best version of that. And I think that's really refreshing and something I like, because I know there can be a lot of haters out there that think what we're talking about is sort of a bit airy or a bit bimbo, but I've seen firsthand as well how it can change things and how it's used in the industry. I mean, for me, the colours, when I wasn't aware of it, I was in a health and fitness magazine. And actually all the dresses, now looking back since I've had my colours done, those dresses were all my colour palette. So little things that you start picking out once you've had your colours done. But again, that's a whole other conversation we can go through. So I just want to thank you for coming up with that. It's just been amazing. You know, so literally wearing the right colours and buying that dress can change your life, because you can feel more younger, more confident, have a capsule wardrobe, save money and time with your shopping. You can look slimmer and even meet the love of your life. So literally you have just shown me that dress. I should buy it because it can absolutely changed my life. So thank you so much for coming on, Harry. How can people find you?
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn, if you're on LinkedIn, as Harry Purewal. I'm on Instagram as a girl named Harry. And, you know, that website and everything else is a girl named Harry. So, you know. Which
is really catchy. I love that, by the way. It's a bit easier to say than Skinny Schedule. So kudos to that. Yeah, and I feel like I'm going to invite you on for another episode. I think we're going to have to go into style before maybe a live shopping trip might be quite fun. So thank you so much for coming on. If you're watching me on YouTube today, if you can like and subscribe to my channel and leave us a little comment below what you've enjoyed about today. You can find me on Facebook as Skinny Schedule and also as Instagram there too. If you're listening to us on the podcast, please subscribe to the podcast, and over and out. Thank you all.